Liquid staking continues to surge on the Solana network. It allows stakers to have an option to access their staked SOL anytime during an epoch, because traditional staking requires me to stake it and have it be activated at the start of an epoch, and then if I want to pull it out maybe on some future epoch, well, I'm still going to have to wait for the duration of the epoch because it's fully locked in until epoch boundaries. So if I want to pull it out at the very start of an epoch or sometime in the middle there, I might have to wait upwards of 2.5 days, which is about the length of an epoch at the current moment in time, and that's a long time to have to wait to have access to my SOL that I had staked. And so liquid staking fixes this, and the way it does this is by creating a pool that's between the stakers up here, you and me staking our SOL, and the validators down here on the other side. The idea here is that this pool consists of a lot of unstaked SOL, meaning it's liquid. It can move around whenever and however we want. And so the stakers place their SOL into the pool, and then the pool takes some amount of the SOL that's in there and stakes it on validators of their choice. But importantly, it's the pool that gets to decide which validator that SOL gets staked onto. Now, for many stakers, it doesn't matter which validator it gets staked onto so long as they are getting their rewards. The purpose for a staker to stake their SOL is to get rewards. So if we're using this liquid mechanism, well, we want to still make sure that we're getting our rewards. And the way this works is by using the concept of liquid staking tokens, or LSTs. LSTs are sort of these redemption coupons that I can use to get my SOL back. And so if I have inserted some amount of SOL into this liquid pool, then I can use the LSTs that I'm given to get that back at any time. Again, there's enough liquid unstaked SOL in the pool such that I can pull it out without having to wait for the SOL to actually get unstaked on the validators on the other side. Now, until recently, there were just a few larger pools in the industry. For example, Jito, Marinade, Blaze, and a few others. So to start a pool, you had to have hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of SOL to build out the unstaked liquid part of this mechanism. And so this serves as a natural gatekeeping mechanism where not many pools existed in the Solana ecosystem. Furthermore, as a staker, I might have a particular validator in mind that I want to support. And so normally we'd take our maybe 100 SOL here and we would stake it onto the validator that we want to support. But the problem with this is that now we have to wait potentially up to 2.5 days to get our SOL back. This is traditional staking. And so as somebody who wants to support a validator, but also as somebody who wants to take advantage of liquid staking, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I have to decide what to do with my 100 SOL. Do I go and support the pools and get the advantages of liquid staking, or do I support the validator that I desire to support, even though it comes at a cost to me personally? Now, by the way, if this content is helpful, then please give it a like and share it. And by the way, stake some SOL on LakeStake. We're grateful for every last Lamport. Now, this situation down here is not ideal, and this changed when Sanctum arrived on the scene. Sanctum saw a vision for creating a pool that could be used by anyone to create their own LSTs. As an example, a validator could create their own LST using the Sanctum architecture, and now I, as a staker who has 100 SOL that I want to stake on a validator, I no longer have to choose between staking the traditional way and liquid staking. Instead, I can use my SOL, my 100 SOL, to exchange for the LSTs that directly support that validator, meaning that my 100 SOL does indeed get staked, but it gets staked through that middleman operator, which is the Sanctum pool. But this Sanctum pool is special because of the fact that it supports so many different LSTs. In theory, it can support an infinite number of LSTs, which is exactly why Sanctum calls their pool Infinity. Every other liquid staking pool has its own LST, and that's the only LST that they really support. So for example, if I'm going to, again, stake my 100 SOL into this liquid staking pool, I have no choice but to take their liquid staking token, which is an important part of this whole process, but it does remove the element of choice, which is why we have this problem down below. With Infinity, we can support millions of different LSTs. So validators are especially going to find use with this, and even content creators can now create their own LSTs. And so by supporting many different LSTs in this ecosystem, it gives the staker on the other side here with their SOL, however much that is, an abundance of choice with what this SOL is going to be used to support. For example, we here at LakeStake, we have created our own LST through Infinity, and it is known as LakeSol. But plenty of other validators have done this as well. For example, a major Solana validator that participates in the ecosystem is JuicyStake. And JuicyStake has created an LST called JuicySol. So if a staker comes along and wants to stake on LakeStake, they simply exchange for LakeSol. And Infinity is going to take care of the process of ensuring that that 100 SOL ends up on the LakeStake validator. But if that staker wanted to actually support JuicyStake, well, they can still take advantage of Infinity to do that. They exchange their 100 SOL not for LakeSol, but for JuicySol. And at this point, the Infinity pool makes sure that the 100 SOL lands on JuicyStake. So this creates a much more transparent process. I, as a staker, know exactly where my SOL is going to go, and I still have the benefit of liquid staking, because I have the ability to withdraw my 100 SOL at any time by exchanging my LST for it, and meanwhile, Infinity will handle the unstaking process that's required on the back end. So everyone wins in this scenario. Stakers can now use liquid staking to support their favorite validators. Validators can promote their brand, as well as content creators, by the way, by creating their LSTs, and they can incentivize and reward their holders. And we'll be talking about this more in future videos. But as a result here, we see that both validators and stakers are further enabled, making the Solana network even more valuable.